Well, hi, everybody. My name is Shannon Burke, and I'm going to introduce you to my friend Jen here in just one second. We're actually just here to talk to you really quickly about what's super exciting in our business and what's happening with Japan. And so I just want to tell you briefly my super quick story. I'm actually an Air Force veteran, a military spouse of 30 plus years now. I've actually been in business for about 8 years, and I started my business from Okinawa, Japan. And so during the last 8 years, have moved, gosh, 6 times with this business. I'm a retired RN, and we really just want to give you just a little bit of insight into what this new market could mean for you and potentially for your network. So Jen, go ahead.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for being here. We know that every woman just like us, or some of you guys that could be watching too, are super busy. So we know that your time is precious, but this is a really important message. So thank you for listening and just hopefully taking something from this. So I've been in Rodan & Fields for about 9 years. Same as Shannon, I have a background in the Air Force. I went to the Air Force Academy, met my husband there, and started my military career. And then once I became a mom, that became exponentially more difficult. So I joined the reserves and started looking for other options. I noticed that there was a huge underemployment rate for military spouses, and it seemed like such a shame because I know they're so talented. So that led me to entrepreneurship, which eventually led me to Shannon and to Rodan & Fields. And we pioneered this company for the last really 9 years, learning from scratch how to do this, and also have learned that military people are really good at it. And so we're really excited about several things as we go into Japan. First of all, over these years, we've gotten a front row seat to watching us become the #1 skincare company in all of North America, which is no easy feat. That's outgrowing in that time frame. In just a decade's time, we've outgrown companies like Estee Lauder and Clinique and all the big skincare companies we knew as children. So that's a huge, milestone to just be a part of this amazing company and the doctor's story and all that they've done. And then you combine that with the fact that we're going into Japan, which, if you don't know, is the #1 skincare market in the entire world. And we have 8 military bases right now in Japan where Americans can be living and running a business right now. So it's a really cool opportunity for any American there. And that's where maybe you're not a skincare person. Maybe you're not a salesperson. Neither one of Shannon nor I were, but we were eager to work flexibly around our families. We were eager to help empower other military spouses. And we found that we both love skincare. And I think we've grown to love what the products have done for both of us, but also what it's done financially for military families. And so we want to make sure that everybody gets the opportunity. So just think about it for a second, because being on the ground in a country before it launches, and we will do the grand opening for the Japanese market with Rodan & Fields in late April. So that's when it officially will kick off. But we're kind of trying to energize the base communities beforehand so that you get first crack at launching this to your local network in Japan. And I'll tell you, I get to work closely with the corporate leadership, and they have done a little press release. The Rodan & Fields doctors have been over to Japan, and they're getting huge reception from the Japanese market. We've reformulated our products to be more Japanese, to fit on their countertops, to follow the same systems that they do. So there's actually more steps with different ingredients in Japan. They put a ton of work and time into doing this launch right. So I think getting a front row seat and being stationed, or having friends or family that are stationed in Japan, this is going to be quite the launch. And Shannon has the history of kind of doing this well before the market was open. So Shannon, you should probably talk about your experience in Japan.
Yeah, just, really briefly, listen, I'll tell you, when I started my business, Jen and I were having conversations, and we weren't even sure I could do it from Japan, because nobody in our company was doing this from an overseas market. So once we learned that I could, it made a whole lot of sense for me to just kind of dive in. I actually was running my business for about 2 years before we PCS'd. And of course, I started as a party of one. And by the time I left the island, we had about 90 different military spouse consultants on the team there. And, you know, for those of you that are familiar with even Okinawa, you know how small it is. That's a lot of us trying to do the same thing and run a similar business. But here's the really great news: as military spouses, you guys are so well connected. You know people literally everywhere. And this is not a business about, you know, where you live. It's so much more about who you know. And so keep in mind that if you don't necessarily have an interest in doing this for yourself, that's completely okay. But you've probably got some connections who have either lived in Japan, who currently live in Japan, who know somebody that is in Japan. And so this is really your opportunity to kind of help them, you know, do whatever it is they might want to get out of this business. So yeah, my experience is this is going to go like wildfire, and I really want you all to have an opportunity to be a massive part of it. So.
Yeah, and you know, this is something that doesn't come around in most people's lifetimes. It's kind of like my friend who said she wished she had invented the Post-it note, or the friend who wishes they had bought stock in Apple before it went public. This is kind of one of those deals that doesn't cross your desk very often. So please take the moment to just think long and hard about what it is that, you know, you would like to fund. One of my friends said, I just want to buy a Pottery Barn couch on my own dime. So that can be an option. Or maybe you want to replace a six-figure income, with which both Shannon and I have done. And no comparison, but I think we are both out earning our husbands as well, who have high-ranking jobs.
That's always fun to say.
You know, whatever your goals are, you can do it. One thing to remember is, as much as the Japanese market may be a place you have connections everywhere, like Shannon mentioned. We have lots of white space still in the United States map. Even though we're number one in the United States, it doesn't mean we're saturated by any means. There's a lot of the Midwest, a lot of bases, honestly, that don't have anybody representing them. So,
and not to mention Canada and Australia, where we're also currently open for business. So
we're in Canada and Australia. We will go to more Asian markets after Japan. If we successfully launch that, there will be more on the horizon. So this is really just the beginning. So really think about not only who you know that knows people that might be in Japan, because a lot of our connections are just one degree of separation. And another question we should bring up just while we're on this topic is, a lot of people ask me, can I do this professionally and not harm my spouse's career? And I think Shannon and I are really good examples of, we've gone through commands, we've moved multiple times. You know, I'm a lieutenant colonel in the reserves. My husband's, you know, an 06. And we make sure that we keep the professional line. So there is definitely a way to do this that shouldn't get in anybody's way of their career, but still that can empower a lot of spouses and that can really fight that 90% underemployment rate. Because we have truly found that the best job you'll ever find is to hire yourself. It can travel with you. It can bless people all along the way. And for all this sacrifice that we put in and all the time that we've given to our military lives, this is one time where you can really leverage the fact that you've lived a lot of places, you've made a lot of connections, and you can help a lot of people in a new way of serving, is kind of the way we look at it. So thank you for spending the time. We're always happy to answer questions. Even if you're like, I just want to learn a little bit more, there's no obligation. You don't have to do this. But please don't sit on it. Pass it on to somebody that you think is a go-getter, that would love a challenge, that loves to help people. Our team is called Team Give. We built this around the idea that we can make money and then give back to our communities, whether those are our military communities, our local communities, whatever it is. This is your launch pad to go do that dream. So by all means, take a look, ask some questions, and let us know if you need anything else.
Yeah, thanks for spending time with us. Thank you so much.
Okay, go build Japan.
Yay.